debating, going toe-to-toe. No holding back, I'm speaking the facts. Let me introduce you to the dopest show. NerdyD and Milwaukee Mike, bringing the energy. If you a fan of wrestling, and especially WWE, this is the Casual Wrestling Show. Casual Wrestling Show. We got opinions, we letting them know. Casual Wrestling Show. Hey, ain't no holding back.
What's up, guys? This is the Casual Wrestling Community Show. I am one of your hosts, the Notorious NerdyD, alongside my co-host, Milwaukee Mike. We're about to break down and update our WrestleMania 40 predictions, what happens if Cody Rhodes loses, and why the IWC loves Liv Morgan so much. But first, Mike, a video surfaced of a house show where a fan was heard going out of their way to boo Maxxine Dupri. Numerous wrestlers, including Rhea Ripley, Zelina Vega, and Becky Lynch, have jumped to Maxine's defense and reprimanded the fan who was in the video. Question here for you, Mike. Is this a case of a fan going too far, or is this an overreaction from the WWE roster?
So, you give this thought a little bit, right? And Maxxine is somebody that I think has been thrown on the scene. I think she caught fire with the Alpha Academy, and as Rhea Ripley said on her tweet, she's kind of learning on the job. Now, you can kind of take that one of two ways, right? One, yeah, you can say that she's learning on the job, but compared to most that make it to the main roster, there's usually a process, right? There's the NXT, there's the constant training at the Performance Center, and it seems to be like she may have skipped over those things, right? And I can recall looking back to the Royal Rumble, her performance in the Royal Rumble was... you don't want to critique too hard, but it was kind of laughable a little bit. And you go to this live event. I seen the video, and the man that was screaming that she sucked, I think that was a little extreme, right? I think as the WWE universe, you can kind of boo when somebody's not doing well, and that's how you kind of can express your feelings towards a person. But for a grown ass man to be like, "You suck," that's a little extreme, but I get it. But at the same time, it's like there's different things to this story that you have to kind of consider. And I think, her not taking the route that, like a Braun Breaker or Tiffany Stratton has taken has to be taken into consideration.
All right. So I was with you until you came down on my guy there. Here's the thing. This is absolutely fucking ridiculous. This is the most 2024 wrestling story that I've ever seen in my life. People pay money, $50, $60, $70 to get those seats to go be able to interact with professional wrestlers. And they have the expectation that they're going to be presented with the best professional wrestling. It doesn't matter if it's Monday Night Raw, if it's Friday Night SmackDown, if it's a house show, they're expecting to see the best product they can see. So I don't know why we're going to sit here and pretend like Maxxine Dupri is that. Like, I think we all know. I think I know, every wrestling fan knows Maxxine Dupri is not the best professional wrestler. Now, we can sit here and debate all day. She is an extremely likable character, and she got over extremely fast. And you're right. She took the fast route. I don't know if it was thanks to Chad Gable. I don't know exactly what it was, but something skyrocketed her to the top, and she was able to skip a lot of the necessary steps that it takes to get here. But I'm not going to pretend like she's on the same skill level as most of the other wrestlers that get into that ring. And so, look, WWE has a developmental system. You mentioned it. It's NXT. If you need her to practice, then you pay the money to fly her back and forth and give her the reps inside an NXT ring. House shows are not we're not paying to go to practice. That's not the way you present those to us. It's not like going to an NFL practice where you expect to see practice plays and practice players. This is sold to us as smaller market. This is going to be a fun show to watch. So there is a developmental system. This is not an NXT house show. This is presented as a Monday Night Raw house show. So whoever this fan is, whatever his name is, he paid his money to go see this. He also paid for the right to boo whoever the fuck he wants to boo, right? I personally believe if he doesn't step upon race, sexism, or take a personal shot at somebody that goes beyond, like talking about their kids or their wife or something like that. Yeah. That's all fair game, man. That's what professional wrestling is. We got to talk. Roman Reigns gets this shit on a nightly basis. People are screaming that Roman Reigns sucks every time he steps into a ring. I understand the visceral reaction to protect Maxxine Dupri. She's a woman. She is new to the sport, but you can't force a crowd to react a certain way. Yeah. Like this guy, he showed up. He's going to do what he wants. Ask Cody Rhodes. Sometimes you go out there, ask The Rock, and you don't get the reaction that you want. Yeah. And it's funny to me. A lot of times people equate wrestling to acting or to like soap operas. But to me, wrestling is more akin to like a live comedy show. It's one of the only places where you get immediate feedback for what you do. And you'll hear most comedians tell you, you need to bomb. You need to hear you suck. That way you can go back to the back and go, while I'm over with this crowd, I do have a lot of work. If Maxxine Dupri wants to be on the level of a Tiffany Stratton, of a Charlotte Flair, I've got work to do. I've got to go do that. But Mike, you know the biggest issue for me? This shouldn't be a fucking issue. Yeah. This is literally just, how many wrestling shows have you been to? There's always one guy who's had a couple too many drinks who thinks it's funny to say the wrong thing. And most of the time, he's getting a pop from the people around him. This was probably not the first thing that he said that got a reaction. This is the one that touched a nerve because clearly Maxxine is well liked in the locker room, which is awesome. I mean, shout out to her. I don't think we blame Maxxine Dupri. I don't think we blame the fan. Blame WWE for putting her into that position. You make her go out there and you make her practice in front of these fans who they've had a couple of drinks. They're not there. They're not there to watch her practice. They're there to see a professional wrestling show, and they're expecting Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns or the top level talent, and they get Maxxine Dupri. And what you said is exactly right. We saw the sample size in the Royal Rumble. That's what you're getting when she's in the ring. And that kind of sucks. And so, should he probably be a grown-ass man and not yell it? Sure, I'm with you, 100%. But not everybody has that filter. There's some guys, he's worked 120 hours this week. He put his money down to go to this house show, and he's going to scream whatever he wants to scream. The truth is, this just hurt people's feelings. And we got to take feelings out of this. The truth is the truth. Maxxine Dupri sucks in the ring. That's not meant to be mean. She has all the time in the world to get better. She's already over with the crowd. That's awesome. But she definitely has to catch up in certain aspects in order to kind of level out. And I assume she wants to be good at this. So like a professional comedian, you need to use those boos as motivation to get better, show up. And look, some guys play off of it. Turn around and tell that guy he sucks back. She doesn't need Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch to defend her. I think she'll be just fine.
I agree. All
right, what you got for me, Mike?
So Elimination Chamber has now come and went. We are no longer on the road to WrestleMania. We are on the highway. So with that being said, we've got our big 4 title matches already announced. What do you think the rest of the Mania card may look like?
All right, so this is interesting because I don't think we did this 3 or 4 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And when I look at my old card, I don't think I'm pretty still in line with where I was. So what I want to do is I want to make this a weekly thing where we update and we keep this moving.
Yeah.
I still have Bianca Belair and Tiffany Stratton. I still think that's happening. I do believe even more now that that's where that's going. And I think Tiffany proved at Elimination Chamber she's worthy of that match.
Yeah.
So that'll be one of my most anticipated matches. Rhea and Becky, we know. Roman and Cody, we know. We know Jay and Jimmy's going to happen. Yep. I think I saw you in the Discord mention this. Waller and Theory. That kind of came out of left field. I like it.
Yeah. So I have that on here now. I don't have it necessarily as a match on the card. Okay. I have it as a Waller effect that turns into a match.
Interesting. So it will be the seeds laid at WrestleMania. Because I agree. When I started putting this together, there's way too many matches on my list. and something's going to have to fall off. So I like that, using that as a moment to set the seeds, and then that can be something towards SummerSlam or whatever's after, or Backlash, whatever happens. Yeah. So I took, I think we all assume Randy Orton and Logan Paul is a thing. But when I look at the entirety of the card, I don't know if there's a spot for just that match. So I took that situation and I molded it with the AJ Styles and LA Knight. I just said, put them all in the ring at once. And I went fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship with Randy Orton, Logan Paul, LA Knight, and AJ Styles. I assume if it's Logan Paul and Randy Orton, Randy Orton doesn't need an United States Championship, does he? Like that. Are we doing that? Is that going to be the thing?
So, obviously from the Elimination Chamber, I have Randy versus Logan. Okay. But then I have in, parentheses, Kevin Owens. Because I feel like the three
He's involved,
of them, the three of them, and I feel like the brass knuckles is going to play some part of this whole thing.
Could see that. I could see that. I think, but I do think that's one of those matches where it's not going to be clear cut. They're going to, like, for time reasons and just for Logan Paul's, safety, the more people you put in the ring with Logan, the less he has to do to carry a match 10 to 12 minutes. So I'm with you there. I don't have Kevin Owens on my card, which is insane. I couldn't figure out that is where you would put him.
That you're right, because I didn't have him initially, but I'm like, you can't leave him off a Mania card.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I thought maybe he can show up on the Waller effect, but he's already kind of feuded with those guys already. So I put him in quotation here as a potential slide in for this.
And match. He's too much of a showman. Like he has to be involved in a match because he will give you that 110%.
Yep.
Bailey and EO still, we all know that's locked in. I have Judgment Day, Awesome Truth, which I think we both kind of came to terms with last time. So I don't foresee DIY maybe, but I think what happens is Awesome Truth and DIY end up somehow going at each other later on.
Yeah, I agree.
I love the Regeneration X. I wish they would.
That was good.
Like play into that. Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. I think that's fine. That's locked in. I have Gunther versus Gable versus Sami Zayn. I'm lumping all of them in together.
So I have more in that match. Actually.
Okay.
I have Gunther, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Dirty Dom, Bronson Reed, and Andrade. And I think from Monday night, that's where I got it, right? Because he had the interaction with Sammy. Chad Gable had the interaction with Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce took a phone call from Bronson Reed. Dirty Dom had his interaction with Gunther. And Andrade had an interaction with Dirty Dom. So I feel like we're going towards that.
I like that because my next was Dominic and Andrade, but I like putting them all into that one match.
And I feel like this could be a ladder match potentially. And the reason you put all these guys in the ring at the same time is to protect Gunther, right? He's going to lose the title without taking a pin, so he's still strong as he goes towards the world title. So.
And you can have multiple guys holding him back as that happens. That's exactly right? It's just this big conspiracy against Gunther. I'm with you. And then I had Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar if Rey Mysterio is ready. I think they've built towards that long enough that it works. I don't know that it has to happen.
Okay. There's a slim chance, and I know we'll get to her in a moment, there's a slim chance that in the Becky Lynch Rhea Ripley match, Liv Morgan gets involved. Slim. Yeah.
There is. I just we'll see. I hope not. But once again, like Kevin Owens, you're not leaving Liv Morgan off the card, right? So
right.
And then there's, I assume, a women's tag match, right? Like you assume.
Yeah. So I got. It's kind of like a fatal five tag.
Yeah.
Kabuki Warriors, Indy and Candice, Katana and Kaden, Shayna and Zoe, and Alba and Isla.
Yeah, and that's that match where you just get everybody you need to get
everybody
on the card. Anything else? Do you have anybody else?
I have the Final Testament versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits.
You said that last time. I don't feel like that either of those fucking groups have gotten enough motivation to be on WrestleMania. Like I feel like that happens the Friday before.
It could. I just, in terms of just predicting, No, I'm
100%. I'm not shitting on what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, I don't know how you feel. I feel like that's the biggest waste of all of those guys right now. Cause it's Last Testament still just kind of feels like a mismatch. You've got the Street Profits hidden behind Bobby Lashley doing nothing. Montez Ford is a star. Let's get him out in the ring and do something. So I'm with you. I just, from my personal belief, those guys have not done enough. The AOP, they're two big guys or whatever, but they don't do it for me. They're just normal. Anything else?
Yeah. Let me see here. I got AJ versus LA Knight, Tiffany Bianca. I threw it on here, even though I don't think it will happen, but just to be in the spirit of predicting, I put Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax because I feel like Nia has to be on the card at this point.
I'm with you. I just really think I like the idea of Jade being the Monday Night Raw one more thing. The night after.
I agree.
Whoever wins coming out and attacking and go, okay, now we're doing this. Now she's here.
Yeah, I agree. That's about it, bro. I mean,
I'm with you.
And I do have the big tag match on night one. Cody and Seth versus Roman and The Rock.
That just feels to me. Do you want Seth Rollins losing twice at WrestleMania? That's my only fear. That is my only fear with that match is.
So I don't think they would actually lose. I think.
So you think they win?
I think Roman would take the pin, setting up a Rock turn night 2.
Okay. All right. I feel like you've protected Roman through 3-4 years that I can see it. I'm not against it. And they're kind of selling Drew McIntyre telling Seth Rollins, you better pay attention. If you pay attention over there, you're going to get your ass whipped over. All right. I'm with it. I'm not fully sold it happens at WrestleMania. I believe that WWE and Triple H are crazy enough to do that on a Friday, especially leading into WrestleMania.
Good. I reserve the judgment to change as well.
I go hell yeah. This is going to change. It'll probably change tomorrow once we get a little more information.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. So the road to WrestleMania is a scary road lined with opportunity for injuries and the potential for guys to miss a chance at the big show. The last premium live event before WrestleMania is possibly one of the most injury-prone matches in WWE, with 6 of your top male and female superstars wrestling in a kind of foreign setting in one night. Should the Elimination Chamber be the premium live event that comes before WrestleMania, or should it be moved to a later point in the year to create a safer road for WrestleMania?
I think at this point it's kind of cemented, right? I mean, we're kind of accustomed to seeing the Elimination Chamber being the second option to get to WrestleMania. I think what we've seen from Drew on Saturday, how he did take a beating, but it's more body instead of risky moves. You'll kind of protect the winner a little bit in those matches. So I don't know. I don't think they do away with it, but I will say I don't like seeing Cody in all these random matches on the way to WrestleMania, considering he's already hurt his pec once. I mean, this is your guy that you're really building this whole thing about. And so I guess there's certain guys and matches that I guess you should protect and don't have. But in terms of the Elimination Chamber as a whole, I think that's kind of a cemented thing at this point.
See, I hate it. I absolutely, I think it is in the worst position that you can put it. It feels like the most risky situation to put 6 of your top guys in 30 days before you get to WrestleMania, when you have other premium live events that I think would even be more exciting in that position. You put 6 major stars in trouble when you could put 6 mid-card guys in trouble in a Money in the Bank ladder match a month before WrestleMania. And then you're just adding this crazy surprise element where 30 days before WrestleMania, you have a guy with a contract that creates a wild card. Instead of right now, Money in the Bank being in May, we see what happens when you hand it to Damian Priest with every intention probably of getting a world title on him. But the problem is 365 days later, you've completely changed your plans and you're kind of in trouble. I feel like if Money in the Bank was a month before WrestleMania, it would be a little easier to use it in that first 30 days with whatever plan you have. Or if you're going to hold on to it, you're not necessarily backed into a situation where it kind of dictates, hey, we're running out of time to do this thing. It scares me that that WWE is willing to put 5 of the main guys in a foreign cage. We're talking about, like, this is not where they normally wrestle, jumping off the top of these pods. You do it one time a year if you're lucky, if you're one of those 6 guys. Most people have been in 1 or 2 of these in their career, and I don't think there's a lot of time to practice. I don't think this thing's set up anywhere where you can go, oh, that's what it's like to jump off of a pod. Right. And we're throwing these guys through plexiglass window, getting thrown over the ropes where you're used to, there being a 4-foot drop. Now you're just hitting the ground, and you're putting 5 of your biggest superstars in the ring with Logan Paul, who he did a hell of a job. Shout out to Logan Paul, but that could go real bad. Logan could have took out 2 of your main guys. You could have lost Drew McIntyre. There's a real possibility that you lose someone like Drew McIntyre going into WrestleMania, and then what do? I like Elimination Chamber as a premium live event. I don't know if I feel that it's so solidified in that spot that 1 or 2 years removed, it wouldn't be better. To me, the fall feels kind of empty these days. We took Hell in the Cell away. We do Crown Jewel, but that's not really gimmicky. I feel like you could slide Elimination Chamber into that fall spot and make it always for a championship. Not for the right to go to WrestleMania, but I think that match should always be where the champion's at this huge disadvantage and they're bitching and complaining about having to go into that situation. I don't love 30 days out, like 30 days out from that's the big show. That's the big one that sells the tickets, that makes the money, and you go, let's risk it. Like, really? Are we of the belief that we think CM Punk would make it through an Elimination Chamber match? He probably would have got hurt there if he wasn't already hurt. You've got guys jumping on top of you from 12 feet in the sky, and you've got to catch them in this foreign. I don't love it. I think when it works, definitely. The risk reward to me, at best, it goes to plan, and you head into WrestleMania and everything's good. At worst, you lose 1 or 2 guys, and you typically alienate a little bit of your fan base because, look, there's people pissed off Liv Morgan didn't win. There's people pissed off Bobby Lashley didn't win. There's people pissed off, oh my God, Becky won again. So immediately 30 days out, you've got 5 subsets of fans that are pissed off that their guy didn't win. I think that the Royal Rumble solidifies that one big main event spot. I think you can just kind of tell a story. I remember the days with Edge and Alberto Del Rio. They didn't use the chamber. That was more organic heading into that match. So that scares me. I think Money in the Bank would be your 30 days out of WrestleMania. Everybody's paying attention. Imagine you get a ladder match with Montez Ford, Logan Paul, all of those kind of guys. And then if one of them gets hurt, it's like, all right, the risk was worth the reward for those guys. But there was no reward for Drew McIntyre getting, I don't know if he really got his eardrum blown out, but that's crazy.
Yeah. I'm with that. I'm with that for sure. So Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns is the main event of WrestleMania 40, and the topic of conversation is Cody finishing the story. My question is this: if Cody doesn't finish the story at Mania because there's a greater purpose, does that turn you off? Or is the story, if the story has more elements post-Mania, does it make sense and does this potentially end at Madison Square Garden where Dusty Rhodes was stripped of the WWE title?
So I love everything about that, except I didn't know shit like that. Like, as a casual fan, I didn't know about Dusty Rhodes. I didn't know about Madison Square Garden. And I don't know what the higher purpose is. Like, as a casual wrestling fan, I think this is where the Roman roller coaster has to stop. This is the optics. This is the big show. This is the one. It has to stop here. I don't care about Hulk Hogan's record. I really don't. Like, as a casual wrestling fan, I just don't. We get it. Roman Reigns is the guy. He's going to be the GOAT. He doesn't need to break any other records at this point. Unless you really think that you're going to let him have it as long as Bruno Sammartino and make him the longest reigning champion of all time. I don't think that, overshadowing Hulk Hogan is just that big of an accomplishment in the eyes of casual fans. This is it. This WrestleMania 40, this is XL, this is the biggest one. You've had Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble twice. He has to do it here. If he loses twice on the biggest stage of all. The optics are just too poor for the casual wrestling fan, and I think they lose a certain amount of interest. I'm not saying you can't make it work somehow long term, but I think that you go from thinking Cody's that guy to Cody's just another guy. He's just another guy on the roster. The Madison Square Garden thing, when you lay it out, that sounds great. I just didn't know about it. I didn't know enough about Dusty Rhodes, and I guess WWE, if they did the right job of selling us on that would work. But to an average fan, I don't know if that works. This is the Super Bowl. And like, nobody cares how many games Tom Brady won at Lambeau Field. So I don't know that the arena matters as much as the event matters. If the plan wasn't for Cody to win, I don't think he should have even been involved in this match. I think that he should have been left on the sidelines just watching. That's kind of the way I feel. I think this hurts if Cody loses.
Yeah, so I think kind of similar to what you did last week. There's two hats here, right? Hat number one, as a casual fan, obviously we've invested so much time into this. I think we're ready for it to just be finished, right? I think we're ready to see Cody hold the belt and us kind of move on from this whole cliche finish the story situation. And obviously on the stage of WrestleMania, this is where, if you're writing a book or a script, this is where it happens. I mean, this is the stage, right? Now WWE hat, well, when he finishes the story, it's done, right? And I think they could kind of look at it as, well, if it's done, well, now where do we go? And you start thinking of credible threats to Cody moving forward. Only one that I could really think of was Randy Orton, just because of the history. But you would assume Cody then moves to SmackDown, and it's just like, well, who's on that roster that really presents a story or a rivalry that you can kind of carry on for the next year or so? So I think it's a mixed bag, right? I do think that he wins at WrestleMania 40. I think he has to win. I think as fans, we need him to win because we've just kind of carried this thing on. We need to see what's next for Roman as well. So I think, him winning, you then create a path for Cody, you create a path for the bloodline, and I think you can kind of create different stories to keep this thing moving forward. So I think that's kind of where I would kind of respond with my answer.
I'm with you. I mean, I understand everything there. I think that, they have to know you got to get to The Rock and Roman before The Rock loses interest. So I don't know how long you can drag that out. I think there's credible threats to Cody. I think you can do Seth again. I think you can do CM Punk. I think you can do, I don't know. That's a lot to think about for me.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot to be figured out. So I guess we'll see as fans.
All right, last topic here. After Elimination Chamber, it feels like there's a weird IWC swell in the building trying to build up Liv Morgan to add her to the women's title match with Becky and Rhea Ripley. This is kind of a two-part question, Mike. What is the IWC's infatuation with Liv Morgan? And how do you feel about fans now feeling like they can hijack all of the booking by using social media and hashtags?
I'm just gonna be blunt and straightforward with the IWC. They are completely fanning with their dicks, man. Like let's just be honest. That is the only reason as to why you want Liv Morgan to be in a main event at WrestleMania, because she's done nothing, right? She's had a title. She had the SmackDown title. What is it? Maybe a year or two ago?
Yeah, wasn't that long ago.
And it was the most boring title run we've seen in recent time. She did nothing with it. Her personality and her on-screen persona just doesn't do it for me. It's screechy, it's whiny, it just comes up short. So to me, the IWC is thinking with their dick, man. And to each his own. To me, Liv is not it. I could do without her. Like, is she a good talent? Sure. If they make a mid-card title, is she like the perfect fit for that? Absolutely. But come on, man. You're not facing Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40. I mean,
I'm with you. I want to piggyback on what you said. That there's a weird infatuation that the IWC has with her that doesn't line up with the reality of who she is. And so, and we can argue with IWC all day. They'll try to tell us it's not about looks. I'm 100% with you. Their infatuation stems from looks. But even if it doesn't, look, here's the problem. Outside of wrestling, if you listen to Liv Morgan talk in interviews, she's super relatable to the everyday fan. And it seems like she's the ultimate WWE superstar. She interacts with fans. She's very likable, but then she gets into the ring and none of that translates. And I don't know why that is. I almost feel like she's the one person who just needs to be herself and quit. It's almost like she's wanted this for so long that she's developed a character in her head that she cannot get away from. And I think that when she grabs a microphone for a promo, none of that authenticity cuts through. She isn't likable. She is screechy. I don't believe the Live Extreme stuff. Like, I don't get why that's her gimmick. And if it is your gimmick, you're really not that extreme. And here's the thing, Mike. I think one thing I've always said for casual wrestling fans, to get over with casual wrestling fans, you have to do at least one thing extremely well. You know, and so if you look at LA Knight, he's great on the mic. You look at Seth Rollins, he's got a great gimmick. You look at Tiffany Stratton, she's super athletic. Braun Breaker, explosive. I can't pinpoint the one thing that Liv Morgan does that's better than everybody else that appeals to a casual audience. So, like, as far as these movements go, where the fans kind of get segmented and they, they try to, rally up their person, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's fine. That's what makes sports fun, right? Cheer for your team. It's just that we know what happens here. When it's the IWC that's on the side of the hashtags and it turns into death threats. It turns into the over-the-top shit that it doesn't really need to be. Like, it's okay if Liv Morgan doesn't get added to the title match. We should all be okay with that. And we should all understand why. The problem is, like you said, the IWC is just weird. It's weird fucks who think it's okay to fall into this like infatuation state with a person and then become a white knight on the internet to defend them. It does come off as weird to me. But I think like as wrestling fans, it is our job to react to what we see on screen. That's part of like the experience. I know there's other people who think that fans are just, shut up and watch. I believe like there's 3 elements to a wrestling show, right? There's the ring, which is, the lights, the cameras, the pyro, there's the wrestlers and the audience, and all 3 of those things come together. But every element in that has to know its role, and that's where I think it gets overstepped. But I'm with you. This is the IWC thinking with their dick. This is look, Australia didn't really love her, right? They were pretty pissed off when she eliminated Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
I don't know. That to me,
it's just weird, and that's like for every woman in the WWE, right? They're either really over or they're not over, and there's a certain group of fans that want them to be over for some odd reason, and it just there's no in between. So I really don't know when it comes to Liv.
I think it's what you said. It's 100% right. I think that the problem with women's wrestling is that most of these IWC guys still pick their favorite based on the way they look. It has zero to do with what they do in the ring, and that's fucking stupid. I think that's stupid. Until this subsection of the audience that lives on Twitter or X or whatever it is can learn to just appreciate. And like Liv Morgan's 29 years old. There's still time. She can still figure it out. We don't got she doesn't have to main event WrestleMania 40. There's plenty of time for her moving forward.
Absolutely.
Like I like my comp always for Liv Morgan is Alexa Bliss. And I just don't feel like Liv Morgan's not hitting those beats yet. And so she should look at that and go, I've got to strive to kind of get better on the microphone, get better in the ring, and then my moment will come. That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Looking forward to tomorrow.
That's all the time we have this week for the Casual Wrestling Show. Make sure to like and share this episode as much as you can. As a member of the Casual Wrestling community, feel free to screen record and clip your favorite part of the show on any social media platform. As always, I am the Notorious NerdyD. That is Milwaukee Mike, and we will see you guys next week.
Hey, you better bring it if we debating going toe to toe. No holding back, I'm speaking the facts. Let me introduce you to the dopest show. NerdyD and Milwaukee Mike, bringing the energy. If you a fan of wrestling and especially WWE, this is the Casual Wrestling Show.